Would you believe me if I told you my HOA charged me $50 a day, just for leaving my trash cans outside a few hours too long? Well, buckle up, because this story gets wild. I always thought being a good neighbor meant simple things, mowing the lawn, keeping the hedges trimmed, and saying hello when you passed by. But my HOA? They saw it differently. One Thursday evening, I was late coming home from work. I didn't get a chance to pull in my trash cans until the next morning. No big deal, right? That's what I thought, until I found a bright yellow paper taped to my door. The notice read, "Violation. Trash cans visible from the street. Fine, $50 per day until resolved." I laughed at first. Surely, this had to be a mistake. $50, for trash cans. But when I called the HOA office, the woman on the other end coldly replied, "It's in the bylaws. You need to comply." At first, I considered paying it just to avoid drama. But something about the way they spoke, like they had total control over me, lit a fire inside. I started noticing other neighbors' bins left out just as long as mine. Funny enough, none of them had yellow notices on their doors. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just being fined, I was being targeted. That evening, sitting on my porch, crickets chirping in the dark, I thought to myself, if they're going to play games with me, maybe I should play back. And oh boy, did I come up with an idea. They thought a $50 a day fine would scare me into obedience. Instead, it gave me the funniest, most legal revenge plan you've ever heard. The next morning, instead of sulking, I brewed a strong cup of coffee and sat at my computer. I typed, "creative ways to get back at an HOA." What I found was a goldmine. People had planted entire lawns of pink flamingos. Some painted their houses neon colors. Others went full holiday mode, leaving their decorations up year-round just to irritate the board. But one idea stood out, a bat house. Now, before you think I'm some kind of comic book villain, let me explain. Bat houses are 100% legal in my area. In fact, environmental groups encourage them because bats eat mosquitoes. And guess what? The HOA bylaws said nothing, absolutely nothing, about bat houses. That's when the plan clicked. They wanted to nitpick about my trash cans. Fine. I'd give them something much bigger to worry about, without breaking a single rule. I pulled out a notepad and started sketching. A tall wooden structure, mounted high in my backyard, perfectly visible from the street. I'd make it big enough to be noticed but follow every zoning requirement so the HOA couldn't touch me. My wife raised her eyebrow when I told her. "You're not serious." "Oh, I'm dead serious," I grinned. "If they want to push me around, I'll push back, with wings." The idea energized me. Instead of dreading HOA letters, I couldn't wait to see their reaction. So, with a list of supplies in hand, I headed to the hardware store. Wood, nails, brackets, sealant, the works. I loaded it all into my truck with a grin plastered across my face. The HOA thought they had trapped me with a fine. But really, they had just unleashed my creativity. While the HOA thought I was hiding in shame, I was in my backyard with a hammer, building something they could never stop. The weekend arrived, and I was ready. Armed with my blueprints, tools, and way too much coffee, I started constructing the ultimate bat house. I measured the wood carefully, about 2 feet wide, 3 feet tall, with chambers inside for the bats. I made sure to paint it dark, since bats prefer warm, cozy spaces. Every detail had to be perfect. Neighbors walked by curiously, some stopping to ask what I was making. I just smiled and said, "Oh, just a little project. You'll see soon enough." Their puzzled expressions made it even better. As I worked, I couldn't stop imagining the HOA president's face when she saw it towering above my backyard fence. They wanted me to pay for trash cans. Nope, I was investing in a mosquito control system, as I like to call it. By sunset, the frame was up. I mounted it high on a sturdy post, facing south so it would get sunlight during the day. Everything was done by the book, no bylaws broken, no rules ignored. Standing back, I admired my handiwork. It was a thing of beauty. Not just wood and nails, but a symbol of resistance. That night, I raised a glass of iced tea on my porch and chuckled. The fine still sat on my counter, unpaid. But for the first time in days, I didn't care. Because I wasn't just fighting back, I was winning. You should have seen the HOA president's face when she spotted the strange wooden structure rising over my fence. It didn't take long for the HOA to notice. On Monday morning, as residents took their morning jogs and dog walks, whispers spread. By the afternoon, I saw the HOA president herself standing at the edge of my driveway, squinting up at the bat house like it was a UFO. She finally knocked. "What exactly is that?" she asked, pointing dramatically. I smiled innocently. "That? Oh, it's a bat house. Perfectly legal. Great for the environment. Helps control mosquitoes. Want me to print you some research?" Her jaw nearly dropped. She sputtered, but, we never approved this." I calmly replied, "I checked the bylaws. No approval necessary. Page 37, Section 14. I made sure." The color drained from her face. She stormed off, muttering something about bringing it up at the next board meeting. That evening, I noticed more neighbors peeking over their fences, curious. Some laughed, others gave me a thumbs up. One even whispered, "Finally, someone standing up to them." Suddenly, I wasn't just fighting for myself, I was becoming a bit of a local hero. And the best part? The bats hadn't even moved in yet. They find me over trash cans. Now, dozens of new residents were arriving in the neighborhood, through my backyard. It took about a week, but one evening, as the sun set, I saw movement around the bat house. Small, dark shapes fluttered in the twilight. I leaned forward, grinning. The bats had found their new home. By the second night, more had arrived. By the end of the week, the house was alive with them. They swooped and darted through the air, feasting on mosquitoes. My backyard was suddenly bug-free, and my revenge project was working even better than expected. Word spread quickly. Some neighbors loved it, thanking me for reducing the pests. Others, not so much. I caught the HOA president pointing dramatically at the sky, clearly outraged. She tried knocking on my door again. "This is a health hazard," she barked. "Actually," I said calmly, "it's the opposite. Fewer mosquitoes means fewer risks. Bats are protected species in this state." "You wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of the law, would you?" Her expression said it all. For the first time since this battle began, I felt completely untouchable. Trash cans cost me $50 a day, but my revenge? It cost me nothing, and the HOA couldn't do a single thing about it. The next HOA meeting was chaos. I didn't even attend, but my neighbors filled me in later. The president ranted about my dangerous bat project, but when she tried to cite rules, the board members shook their heads. "Technically, he's within his rights," one admitted. Another said, "Actually, bats are good for the community." I had turned the tables. Not only was my project legal, but now I looked like the responsible homeowner helping the environment, while the HOA looked like they were picking on me for no reason. The $50 a day trash can fine. It quietly disappeared. They stopped sending me notices altogether. Sitting on my porch one evening, watching the bats swirl against the sunset, I couldn't help but laugh. The HOA had tried to find me into submission. Instead, I'd built something they couldn't fight, and in the process, I'd won back my peace of mind. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud or destructive. Sometimes, it's smart, subtle, and just a little bit winged.